Hi, thank you. My family's from Windham, and we're wildlife lovers. There's been a dramatic change to our environment here. We see less wildlife. Moose, lynx, 3 million birds have disappeared from the New Hampshire landscape. If you're a birder like me, that's piping plover, red knot, loons. And I love that you mentioned that we need to acknowledge problems that exist because the extinction crisis exists. And it's profound and it's dramatic. But I think we can do something about it. We just need bold leadership to take care of it. And so I'm wondering if you, as president, would address the extinction crisis by declaring it a national emergency and overturn Trump's rollbacks to the Endangered Species Act. Thank you.
Thank you for this question. I think you're so cool. The first thing I gave money. I would 100% commit to reversing Trump's rollback of the Endangered Species Act. We need to do everything we can to protect our native ecosystem so that birds, animals can thrive in their natural habitats. You know what's heartbreaking? There are so many heartbreaking things about that Australian wildfire. When you saw those pictures and you were like, what am I looking at here? But did you hear that 1 billion animals died? You know, you're like 1 billion animals died. You like imagine what that even means? You imagine like the carbon emissions that resulted from those wildfires? We are in a crisis, and the depletion of the wildlife here in New Hampshire is just one of many symptoms of the havoc that climate change is wreaking on our way of life. I was in Portsmouth, and there was a multi-million-dollar shrimping business that has gone to zero because the water's too warm. The shrimp don't actually reproduce the way they did. Buildings are flooding, floods in the Midwest, fires out west. We have to start incorporating the impact of climate change into the way we do things, and stop pretending that somehow we're going to save money by not investing in trying to address climate change. One of the things I say to audiences is, how much do you think climate change is going to cost us?
Trillions and trillions of dollars.
Trillions and trillions of dollars, tens of trillions. And so in that context, you realize that doing nothing is actually very, very expensive. And that if you start investing in ways that can mitigate some of the worst impacts and even reverse it, that's actually a wise investment. So what's happening to the wildlife here is just like one of like the many, many outgrowths of climate change, and it's heartbreaking. It's deeply immoral what we have done, what we've left to our kids. And the roughest part in New Hampshire is that it's going to be very, very hard to prevent or reverse. If you say, I'm going to prevent climate change, to me that's actually dishonest, because climate change is already here. How can you prevent something that's already here? You're already on the curve. The other difficult part of this is that the United States of America is only 15% of global emissions. So even if we were to trend very, very quickly to zero, the Earth will continue to warm. And if you look at the other 85% of emissions, China is bringing coal-burning power plants to African governments and saying, what do you think? And then what does the African government say?
Yes.
Thank you very much, I'll take it. Because they just want cheap energy, they don't care about emissions. So we have to be at the same table and say, don't take the coal-burning power plant, take these solar panels instead. We will subsidize them at a very, very high level. And we have to start leading the world in that direction as quickly as possible. But even if we were to do everything right, we are on this curve. We have to do everything we can to try and preserve native habitats and combat the worst effects of climate change. But it's going to be a mammoth struggle. And you're going to see the changes, even if we do everything right. I'll confess, I'm actually more concerned about our families, our people, our communities, our habitat, even than I am wildlife, because we're going to be really hard hit by this. And there are already climate refugees in the United States of America. There's already a town in Louisiana that we had to relocate because it became uninhabitable. And they will not be the last of it. And so, to me, the biggest change we can make is to let Americans know that this is not a you problem and a your town problem. This is an us problem. And instead of leaving you out to dry, saying you have to fend for yourself, we have to say, look, you didn't cause climate change, and we have massive nation-scale resources that we can put to work. But I'm very deeply passionate about trying to keep native habitats whole. I think that our forefathers did us a great service by trying to preserve so much land, and I would continue that tradition for generations to come.